There was a time when life felt like a series of predictable moments, where days blended into one another, and nothing ever truly stood out. It wasn't that I was unhappy, but something always felt incomplete, like I was moving through the motions rather than truly living. I had convinced myself that this was just how things were, that love, the kind of love that changes everything, was something other people found, but not me. And then you came into my life, not with grand gestures or sweeping declarations, but with a quiet presence that turned my world upside down in the most beautiful way. I still remember the first time we met, though at the time, I had no idea how significant that moment would become. It wasn't dramatic or extraordinary, no lightning struck, no music swelled in the background. But there was something about you that felt different, something that made me pause, something that made me feel like I had just stepped into a moment that would matter. Your laughter was the first thing that caught my attention, not just the sound of it, but the way it seemed to fill the space, warm and genuine, like a secret between old friends. It was the kind of laughter that made everything else seem a little less serious, a little lighter. And for someone like me, who had spent so long carrying invisible weights, that meant more than I could ever put into words. At first, I didn't realize how much you had started to matter. It was in the little things, the way I looked forward to your messages, the way I caught myself smiling at the thought of you. It was in the way you listened, not just hearing my words, but truly understanding them. I had always been the kind of person who guarded their thoughts, who kept their emotions carefully tucked away where no one could reach them. But with you, those walls didn't seem necessary. I found myself opening up in ways I never had before, sharing things I hadn't even admitted to myself. And instead of turning away, instead of seeing my flaws and my fears as burdens, you embraced them. You made me feel safe in a way I never had before, and in that safety, I learned what it truly meant to be loved. It wasn't just the big moments that made me love you. It was the small ones. The way you remembered the little things, like how I take my coffee, or the way I always get cold when it rains. The way you looked at me when you thought I wasn't paying attention, with a quiet kind of affection that made my heart ache in the best possible way. It was the way your hand always found mine, not because you needed to hold on, but because it felt right, as if our fingers had always belonged together. There were nights when the weight of the world felt unbearable, when my own thoughts became too loud, when I doubted myself more than I'd like to admit. But you were always there, not with empty reassurances or meaningless words, but with a presence that reminded me I wasn't alone. You never tried to fix me, never treated me like I was broken. Instead, you simply stayed, and somehow, that was enough. Your presence was enough to steady me, to remind me that even on the worst days, I had something worth holding on to. I often find myself wondering what I did to deserve you. You are the kind of person people spend their entire lives searching for, the kind of love that feels too rare, too precious to be real. And yet, here you are, real and present, and mine. Every single day, I wake up grateful for you, for the way you love me, for the way you make me love myself. You are not just a part of my life, you are the best part of it. You are the laughter in my quiet moments, the warmth in my coldest days, the home I never realized I was searching for. If I could give you anything in return, it would be the certainty that you are loved just as deeply, just as fiercely. I would give you the kind of love that you have given me, steady, unwavering, endless. Because love, with you, is not just a fleeting emotion. It is not just a word or a feeling. It is a promise to stand by your side through the good and the bad, through every high and every low. A promise to cherish every moment, to never take a single second for granted. A promise to always remind you, in every way possible, that you are the best thing in my life. And that, for as long as I breathe, for as long as I exist, I will love you.